So I've got my husband and apparently all of the animals in the house to talk a little bit about haptics or touch. And since I'm married to him, I'm allowed to touch him. So he makes really good. I should use him for facial expressions because he makes great facial expressions. But I want to talk about two of the primary functions of touch and what they do, and then the difference between ritual touch and task touch. And those are going to be the ones that you're likely going to do kind of in the workplace. So, first of all, what are the purposes of touch? Well, touch goes to communicate two primary things. One of them is affection, which, this is pretty clear. The other one can be power or dominance. Normally, people with more power have a tendency to touch others more than people with less power. People with less power are touched more often. Think about little kids. We pat them. He's not a little kid, but we pat them, we yank on them. People with less power are often touched more. And this is something that can be, stop it. This can be something that is something that you should be aware of, because a lot of times there will be people who are touch sensitive, often because it can be a power or a dominance kind of thing. And that's just something to be aware of. Now, by the way, as humans, we do need touch. Touch releases endorphins, very similar to eating chocolate. We need touch to be happy, healthy human beings. And so, thank you. And it's also, back rubs are also awesome. So that is definitely something that is part of haptics. But I want to talk about two kinds of touch that you will likely be doing in your job, and kind of how to do it in a way that's going to not convey that dominance and instead convey kind of that cooperation, or is going to be very, very respectful. And that's ritual touch and task touch. Now, ritual touch are the things in our culture that we do that touch, that are touch related. And they are very, very common. So if it's an intimate, and the dogs are doing the thing, if it is an intimate partner, someone that we're related to, a family member, a spouse, when we greet each other, what do? We give each other a hug, right? That's ritual touch. If it is not an intimate, if it's a work person, we do a handshake, right? And we talked about good handshakes in our section on interviewing, good firm handshake. In other cultures, that ritual touch is very different, and that's Ari. Ritual touch is very, very different. It might be kissing on either cheek, or did they, when you were living in Germany, or did they do anything? Did they do kissies on either cheek?
Not in Germany.
Not in Germany? Okay.
France, yes.
In France, yes. So,
Italy especially.
Where?
Italy.
Italy? Okay. So in other cultures, there might be different kinds of greetings that are ritual touch. The other one that you'll be doing is what we call task touch. Task touch is, let's say you're a medical professional, or let's say you are, like I had a music teacher who would often adjust my posture. And if you're going to have to touch somebody, you always want to do you always want to do something where you're basically asking for permission. So let's say I'm a doctor and or a nurse, and I'm coming in to take his blood pressure. Before I even get this close, and if you see the section on distance, this should be done before you even hit personal distance. I'm going to say something like, I need to take your blood pressure. And I'm going to put my hand out like this to indicate that I am, not a threat or anything like that. And then I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to take your arm, and then I'm going to take his arm, and I'm going to take his blood pressure. That's task touch. You always, whenever you're going to touch somebody that you don't know or don't have a personal relationship with, it's always good to let them know that you're going to enter their space and that you're going to touch them. Now, let's say I have to get his attention and he currently can't hear me, or I need to get his attention in some way, shape, or form. Where's the best place to touch him to do that? Well, a lot of people would immediately say, like, right here. Well, what do you think? Why do you think this is probably bad?
It's dominance.
Yeah, it's very dominant. So, like, patting somebody on the shoulder, either on top or even on the back, is kind of a dominant gesture. The person can't see my hand, and what's really crazy is that you actually have a temperature control center behind your neck here. And so if I put my hand on his back for any length of time, that's going to immediately warm him up, and it's not going to be comfortable. What do you think? Should I grab by the wrist? Should I grab you here?
No, it feels like you're trying to restrain me.
That's also, yeah, it's also very dominant. And so the best place if I'm trying to get his attention is on the outside of the shoulder right here. Okay, I'm gonna say, excuse me, sir, right? And the reason for that is because if you think about it, these are our shields. When we're walking through life, when we're walking through the world, we often do so, we shoulder first, right? We say, excuse me, right? That is, we're used to being jostled or hit on the outside of our arms. So generally an open-handed touch from shoulder to elbow is going to be the most non-dominant, non-distractive kind of touch. So when you're going in for some sort of task touch, if you have to touch somebody, always make sure, first of all, it's always open-handed. Try to keep it on the outside of the body, and then always make sure that if you are going to do any type of prolonged touch that you ask for permission. So hopefully that makes haptics a little bit more clear. As always, please let me know if you have any questions. And from all of our animals to you and my husband, see you in the next video. Kitty!